You share these fascinating insights from the $100 startup, and it really challenges how we think about careers, doesn't it? It makes you wonder, especially today, can you really build a career doing something you love without needing like a huge pile of cash to start? Or is that just, wishful thinking? That's really the heart of our deep dive today. We're going to unpack some of the most surprising ideas from this book, show how these often unexpected entrepreneurs are basically rewriting the rules, finding independence, finding purpose on their own terms.
Yeah, and let's be super clear up front. This isn't your typical Silicon Valley story. We're not talking venture capital, big pitches, 80-page business plans, none of that. What the book highlights is more like a microbusiness revolution. It's about regular people starting fast, often with hardly any formal plan. And they test things out immediately by asking, the most basic question, are people actually buying this? It's very much about learning as you go, real-world validation.
Okay, so if that's the revolution, what's actually driving it? Why are people doing this? Because, as you said, a lot of these businesses sound like they started almost by accident, maybe after some kind of hardship.
Yeah.
Like Michael's story. He was a corporate guy, right? Heard all those layoff stories, but they were always just abstracts, other people, until he got the email. And he said everything just went into slow motion. Suddenly, he was the one being laid off. It became very real, very fast.
Exactly. Or think about Jessica Reagan Saltzman, a new mom, baby just 3 weeks old. Her husband calls, says he's coming home early, and he's not going back. Laid off. Just like that.
Wow.
So her part-time bookkeeping hobby, that had to become their full-time income practically overnight. Talk about pressure.
Yeah, no kidding. And then there's Tara Gentile. Her goal was, pretty straightforward initially. Work from home, be with her kids. But her business didn't just let her do that. It took off so much that her husband could quit his job and stay home too. Way beyond what she first imagined.
And you see these themes again and again in the stories. Freedom, definitely. Creating value. But underneath it all, there's this real sense of, active change. People are figuring out how to do what they want, not by, just cutting back or staying in a job they dislike, but by making something and selling it.
Right.
That's the key difference. They start with the life they want, the passion they have, and then work out how to fund it. The income might not be millions, but it pays the bills and gives them that independence, which is huge.
Okay, so they make the leap, they figure out the why, what's the actual how. The book puts it so simply, build something people want and give it to them. Sounds easy, but where's the trick?
Well, that's where value comes in. It's about connecting the money side of things with your actual ideas and skills. When you're thinking about any business idea, money can't be the only thing, obviously, but it has to be there. You've got to ask, okay, 1, how do I get paid? 2, how much do I get paid? And 3, this is often the big one, is there a way I can get paid more than once? Like recurring income.
And that connects to focusing on the real benefits, the emotional stuff, right? Not just listing features.
Yeah.
Because most people, deep down, want more of some things, love, money, attention, whatever, and less of others, stress, debt, anxiety. So the question for you, the entrepreneur, is what are you actually adding or taking away that makes someone's life genuinely better?
Yeah, exactly. That V6 ranch example is perfect. Barbara Varian, she could just say, we're a ranch, pay us, ride horses.
Descriptive, yeah.
Right, boring. Instead, she says, we help our guests become someone else, even if just for a day. Come stay with us and you'll be a cowboy.
That's totally different. It's about transformation.
Exactly. It taps into an emotional desire, and that links to a bigger point.
Yeah.
How do you match your passion with, enough people who care, an actual audience? It's easy to love something that only 5 other people are into. Mignon's story illustrates this. She loved absolute science, passionate about it.
But not a big enough market.
Nope. So she pivoted, shifted to grammar, launched Grammar Girl, found something she was still passionate about, but that connected with a huge audience.
Okay.
And the insight there, which can feel a bit backwards, is that you don't usually get paid for your hobby. You get paid for helping other people with their hobby or something related.
Right. Using your passion to serve others.
Precisely.
Which leads nicely into making an offer people can't ignore. I love the orange and the donut analogy in the book. Mile 18, first marathon, you're dying. Someone offers a fresh orange slice. You'd probably pay anything for it right then.
Oh, absolutely. Compelling offer. Perfect time. Perfect audience.
Then, mile 20, someone offers a Krispy Kreme donut. No way. Terrible fit for that moment.
Exactly. So a great offer is like that orange slice. It solves a real need right when it's needed most. Think about that Bonderman Fellowship. $20,000 to travel the world solo for 8 months. Students fight for that.
Yeah. The book calls it the magic formula. Right audience plus right promise plus right time. That equals an offer you can't refuse. That's why an Alaska coupon book sells out in Alaska. Why marathon runners want oranges. It just fits.
And you see businesses applying this. Brandy, with her graphic facilitation, drawing ideas, live in meetings, it's kind of niche, right?
Yeah, I can see that. How does she explain it?
Well, she learned to start conversations by just saying, I have a fantastic, strange job. It immediately makes people curious, comfortable asking, what is that? It breaks the ice.
Sure.
And building on that, you need what the book calls a compelling offer toolkit. Things like a really good FAQ page, a solid guarantee, and always trying to over-deliver. You have to think about the customer's doubts beforehand. Can I trust this? What do other people say? Is this worth the money?
Addressing the trust and authority thing head on.
Exactly. Build that confidence. Maybe add a little urgency, a real reason to act now. And then, crucially, knock their socks off after they buy. That builds loyalty.
Okay, so you've got the value, you've got the killer offer. Now, you got to launch it. Get the word out. Because if you build it, they will come. Well, that needs an update, doesn't it? More like, if you build it, they might come. If you actually tell them about it.
Yeah, precisely. And the Hollywood movie launch analogy is perfect here. Studios build buzz for months, right? Teasers, trailers, interviews.
Yeah, you know it's coming.
Same idea for a microbusiness launch. It's about consistent communication before you launch, building anticipation. Like Carol Gajda and Adam Baker, they did this fire sale project, worked like crazy for 3 days, nonstop practically, made over $185,000 just through a well-planned launch sequence to their existing audiences. Amazing.
Wow, okay, that leads into this idea of hustling, which sounds a bit intense.
Well, the book defines it as the sweet spot between work and talk. Joey Roth's poster idea, remember? The charlatan is all talk, no work. The martyr is all work, no talk.
And the hustler is the balance.
Exactly. It means being willing to promote what you do, but authentically, not being sleazy about it. Think about Karen Starr. Didn't spend a dime on ads for months. Instead, she paid for this huge 30 by 50-foot mural of a tree on her billing.
That's bold.
Her reasoning, that speaks way louder than any ad. And she was probably right. It got attention. It was a statement.
That's great. What about other ways to hustle to get attention?
Contests and giveaways are surprisingly effective. The author mentions getting like 1,000 comments on Facebook just for giving away a $15 book.
1,000? Really?
Yeah. And Jaden Hare from Sidimi Kitchen. She'd get up to 50,000 entries for cookbook giveaways. The interesting part is it's often less about winning the prize itself.
And more about joining in. Social proof.
Exactly. If all your friends are doing it, you kind of want to as well. It builds community and buzz.
Okay, but doesn't all this hustling, promoting contests,
Yeah.
doesn't it take a ton of time? That's what people worry about.
It can feel like that. But the book suggests a manageable way. Quick check-ins. Keep a simple file with links and info you want to share. Hop online maybe twice a day, post something useful, respond to a few messages. Doesn't have to be hours, maybe 10, 15 minutes total. Consistency is key.
Just keep showing up. And what should you talk about in those check-ins?
Simple. You and your business. People follow you. They're interested in your journey, your perspective. Natalie Licio is a prime example. Her raw food business was called Raw Food Switch. Kind of bland.
Yeah, not very exciting.
Then she realized the letters could rearrange to Raw Foods Witch.
Ha! No way.
Yes. So she rebranded everything around herself as the witch. Pointed hat and photos, the whole deal.
Did it work?
Made $60,000 in the first year because it was personal, memorable, unique. It was her.
Okay, that's powerful. Let's switch gears a bit. Money. Always a big question. How do these tiny businesses actually get funded? It seems unconventional.
Well, the biggest takeaway, maybe the most surprising one, is that borrowing tons of money or having huge savings, it's completely optional. Get this. The average startup cost for the businesses in the study was just $610.60.
$600? Seriously?
Seriously, Michael Traynor needed a $2,500 camera for his media company. Tar Gentile started her publishing thing for $80. Technomedia, the software consultancy, $125.
That's incredibly low.
Charlie Paps needed a good computer that was $3,500 plus a $100 business license. But still, we're not talking tens or hundreds of thousands, and these stories came from all over the world.
It really shifts the perspective on needing capital. And some people got really creative with funding, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Emma Reynolds and Bruce Morton needed $17,000 for their consultancy. She was too young for a business loan. He had complications from a divorce.
So what did they do?
Had an idea on a plane flight. Bruce applied for a $17,000 car loan.
Wait, for a car they didn't buy?
Exactly. Put the money straight into the business. Paid the loan back in 10 months. Apparently, the bank never knew there wasn't a car.
That is audacious.
Wow. Bold move, for sure. Then there's Kristen McNamara's climbing gym. She basically asked the community to invest, like buying a CD, offered a return slightly above bank rates, used community support as capital.
Okay, so you get started, maybe creatively. How do you keep the money coming in? Make it sustainable.
The getting paid more than once strategy, super important. Think continuity programs, memberships, subscriptions. It's about recurring revenue from the same happy customers. Studio Press is a good example. They sell you a website design, a one-time thing.
Right.
But then they offer ongoing services, SEO help, hosting. They built trust with the first sale, then created a recurring relationship, much more stable.
It feels like a recurring theme is just resourcefulness,
Yeah.
using what you have. The book says we all have more than we think.
Absolutely. Naomi Dunford's story is incredible here. Went from a homeless shelter to a thriving business. She needed to pay for a conference registration, didn't have a credit card.
So what happened?
She just asked her network. Within 2 minutes, 3 people offered to lend her their card. She realized she had this untapped social capital, this network willing to help. It was a light bulb moment.
Wow, that's powerful. And once things are running, how do you actually grow the income without, massive changes?
Often it's about tweaks. Small changes that have a big impact over time. Like if your website converts 1.5% of visitors into buyers and you tweak things to get that to 1.75%, seems tiny, right?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like much.
But that small percentage change adds up to significant extra income. Or getting 5 new customers a day instead of 4. That's a 25% jump. Snowboard addiction is a great case. They went from making $30,000 a year to almost $100,000.
How? Big new product.
Nope. Mainly by adding affiliates to sell for them and translating their stuff into 9 languages. Small strategic tweaks. Huge results.
And focusing on existing customers too, right? That's always easier.
Always. Selling more to people who already trust you is far cheaper and simpler than constantly finding new people.
So, okay, the business is doing well, maybe growing, thanks to tweaks. How do founders scale up without losing that initial freedom they wanted?
One interesting way is to sort of franchise yourself. Reach 2 different audiences. Brooke, the wellness provider, is a good example. She served her individual clients, right? But then she noticed other wellness pros weren't great at the business side.
Ah, so she saw another need.
Exactly. She created practice abundance training for them, practical business advice, no MBA jargon. So she served her clients and her peers, doubled her reach, different income streams.
Smart. But scaling often brings up the outsourcing dilemma, doesn't it? People have strong feelings about hiring help.
Oh, definitely. You've got people like Megan Hunt. She hit a wall, couldn't earn more on her own, built a team, and she found she was happier, freer, being the pilot with a crew, helping run things. It allowed her to grow.
But then there's the other side, like Gary Leff.
Right. He worried about his reputation, wanted total control, turned down growth opportunities because he didn't want to compromise or work for less, essentially. He was comfortable staying smaller.
So, no single right answer. It depends on your goal.
Absolutely. It's personal. And even if you don't want traditional employees or contractors, there are other ways to get help. Natalie Lessier hired a house cleaner, said it massively boosted her productivity because she wasn't trying to do everything.
Yeah, it frees up mental space too.
For sure. And Jonathan Pincus had his mom in England scan his mail for him. Little things can make a difference.
That really highlights the difference between working in the business, the day-to-day grind, versus working on it, the strategy, the improvement.
Yes. Critical distinction. The book suggests carving out time, maybe 45 minutes a day, without internet, just focused on improvement, not just putting out fires.
And what should you focus on on the business time?
Monitoring key metrics is vital. Sales, cash flow, leads. Pick 1 or 2 really important numbers and know them. And while you can delegate tasks, you probably shouldn't delegate all financial understanding. Having 0 clue about the money side is usually a red flag.
Makes sense. So eventually, founders hit this fork in the road, the choice. Stay small or go long.
Yeah, it's about the end game. Are you building to sell, creating something specifically to cash out? Or is it more like the $100 startup model, a business tied to your passion, built for freedom and ongoing control?
Different motivations, different structures.
Totally. Neither is better, just different aims. Remember Jessica, the bookkeeper? She hired people, grew, but found it created stress, fixed costs. It reduced her freedom.
So she went back.
Yep. Back to a one-woman shop. Heart-based bookkeeping, she called it, regained control. Cherie Veyard, same thing, purposely turned down growth to keep her software company small and maintain her lifestyle freedom.
It really comes down to defining what success and freedom mean to you. And throughout all these stories, the power of just sticking with it, perseverance, motivation.
Absolutely crucial. David Fugate starting his literary agency from nothing. He remembered signing one big client and just knowing, okay, this is going to work. Even though he hadn't consciously doubted it before, that moment cemented it.
And Emily, leaving our high-paying job for the ethnic food tour business.
Yeah, saying the best part was going to bed just as excited as when I woke up. Working on something that fully engaged her and ignited passion in others, too. You can't put a price on that feeling.
So wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway for someone listening? What does this deep dive into the $100 startup really mean for you? You
Yeah.
see, you can start small. You need to find that unique value. You got to hustle authentically, and you need to be thoughtful about growth. It really drives home that this path to, freedom and purpose, it's accessible. You can build it yourself.
And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Considering all these stories, all these strategies, what's one small, maybe unconventional step you could take this week? Just one thing to create a bit more freedom or value in your own work, your own life? What's your potential micro-revolution?
That's a great question to ponder. And it's cool to remember the author actually shares revenue with organizations like Charity Water, Kiva.org, helping others get started too. It's kind of a nice reminder that building your own freedom can actually be part of a bigger wave, helping create opportunities for others as well.